Okay, so now that we've gone through most of our basic tools and we've looked at, really just 2D modeling at this point, as kind of a review, a little sandbox exercise, we're just going to build some simple shapes to get a sense of how these tools come together to make whatever is in your mind. So I'm going to try to do something fairly close to this. I'm going to start with a rectangle tool for that bottom blue chunk. About like that. This top one is on an angle, but it might be easier actually for me to construct it and then just tip it up using the rotate tool. So I'm going to do another rectangle for that. And then if I hover over this point, you'll see that green line will kick in. And so that will make sure that we are the same size there. Just lift that up a little bit. Now I'll do this little bump up here. About like that. Now I'm just going to double click to bring up my reshape tool and I'll slide that back. Now these two can become one thing, so I'll clump them together, modify, add surface. So there's our top. Next thing we want to do is get all these nice little rounded corners. That's going to be done using our fillet tool. So we'll select that. And we'll just start selecting edges that we want rounded. That corner. That one could actually be a little bit bigger, perhaps. Yeah, let's redo that one. I'll change it from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch here. And we'll go back to 1/4 inch. And that's most of those. I'll add this little piece that goes under there as well. About like that. And I'll add this one on top here. Just doing rectangles. Really not too hard. Now I'll select these and I'll go ahead and spin them up. So with both of them selected, first click will set our point. Second click will add that, and then we can tip it up to whatever we like. And that seems decent for me. Next, we will go ahead and grab our polyline tool and make this little shape here. We'll come to about there. There we go. Now we don't have to, but if we wanted to, we could clean this up a little bit. I can select both of those. Modify clip so that now that's a little cleaner. Select. I'll clip that one as well, just to make it a little cleaner. We'll just grab our circle, come in here, and draw two nice little circles in there. Now we're missing the little nubbin here off the front. So I'll grab my rectangle tool, and this time I'll use the 3-point rotated so that I can draw a rectangle on an angle. Doop. There we go. It's looking pretty good. Ooh, this one here needs a little fillet. There we go. And that's sort of the basics of that. Then you can come in, this one's a little wonky, a little large, and you can just reshape as needed. If you wanted to, you can play with attributes. So let's select those two parts. We'll come over to their attributes. I'll select the color. I don't know, that's not quite it. Good enough for now, I suppose. You can select multiple objects and handle them at the same time. And this little guy, we'll just make it black. If you wanted to, you could come in here. So let's drop some text on here. Stable-o-matic. Great. Sure. Plop that on there. Rotate it. And see how it's white there? That's because this text box has a fill of its own. So with it selected, I can just come in and instead of it being a solid white, I can just change that to no fill. And there we go. Another little tip, say I want to adjust this a little bit, but as I'm dragging around, it's snapping to things weird. If you have something selected, if you just hold Shift, you can use your arrow keys to just nudge things around if you wanted to nudge like that. So that's our stapler. Not too bad. You can make these a little darker. Now let's do one more. So you could import images into Vectorworks. If you go up to File, Import Image File, then you just select whatever you want. Let's do a tape dispenser too. We're going to do all of our desktop junk. Okay, so to start this, I would probably, let's tackle this top part here that's in the lighter gray. That's going to probably be the hardest part of this. So we could do a couple different things. One, we could use a polyline tool. So using that, you would strike out like that. And as you're using this tool, right now I'm in corner vertex mode, you can switch to different modes as needed. So now we'll switch over to Bezier. Put it about there. And I'll switch back to corner. So that's one way to do it. And again, you can reshape this. So if we pull up our reshape tool, because this was a Bezier curve, I can actually grab this handle and change that curve however I want. You can also reshape these. So something like that gets us pretty close, and that's all done using the polyline tool and then using reshape on it. Another way you could do that would be subtractive, I suppose. So you would draw the main chunk of it, and then we would resize it. And then we could just grab like our freehand tool or something, and I could just draw an arc along here. And that gives us that same swoop. But now again, these are two separate things. So we have our swoop and we have our object. So we could just play with this to get it to fall where we want it to. Something like that, maybe. Now what we want is just the area in here as opposed to this whole thing. So I would grab my 2D polygon tool with the bucket fill. And I would just click in here, and that creates a shape right there. So two different methods to get to ultimately a very similar result. I mean, they're clearly a little bit different, but you can play with it and see what works best for you. Let's get rid of one of these, and we will start this. So if I'm drawing this rectangle, I want it to be exactly lined up. If I hover over this endpoint for just a sec, you'll see the cursor has a red box around it. So now it'll track that line down, so I know that those are the same size. You have a selection tool, double click to bring up my reshape. Something like that. That's not too bad. And then we just got to do our circles up here in that area. Something like that. That. Now actually let's make this into sort of a donut shape. So I have two circles, 1, 2. If I select them both, holding Shift, if I come up to Clip Surface, so now it's cut this center circle out of the outer circle. So I can select that one and just hit delete. And I'm left with a donut here. And I can again move that to wherever I want it, like that. Now for this project, I could just hide the rest of this circle behind the tape there, but you could do that by Control B for send to back. Now it's hidden back there. If I wanted to clean it up a little bit more, I could select that and this and just go to Modify Clip Surface. So now we essentially just have that bit. And there's still probably a little bit hovering back here, which you can leave, or you could find it like that just by trying to select it. You can also, if you hold down your B key, that's called the X-ray. It's kind of like an X-ray. So if you hold down B, it will show you what all's behind there. So if I'm holding B, I can look behind and select things that I ordinarily wouldn't be able to. So let's run this operation again. Those two, modify, clip. Now I know there's a little chunk down here floating somewhere. Hold the B key, and then I can select it. Release the B key, hit delete. I'll draw this last little loop. Boop.
And you'll notice with snapping on, the new circle will snap to the center point of the previous donut, even though that donut is now an incomplete shape.
Select both of those. Oh, and actually, if I were to clip these now, it would take the circle out of this piece, which I don't want. So I need to send this to the back first. Control B. Select both of those, modify, clip. And there's a little tape dispenser. And then we have the little tape line here, I suppose. So let's use my line tool. There we go. And similar to this one, I could come in and color it and all that, but I don't think we need to at this point. Because really it's about just learning how to play with shapes and how to manipulate shapes. So try a couple of these on your own, find something, and just start drawing it to see what you can do with these different shapes. All right, thank you.